If you are someone who needs to understand the how before you can take action, and you've been wondering what it would look like to build multiple streams of income beyond your current role, then I invite you to lean in to today's episode because I'm going to be pulling back the curtain and sharing with you what I did to build multiple streams of income over the last 10 years and what I would do differently if I was getting started in 2026 so that you can see what is possible for you. Welcome to the Career Changemaker podcast. Do you want clear direction about your next chapter, but find yourself overthinking every move and worrying about getting it wrong? If so, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Janine Esbrand, corporate lawyer turned career coach, keynote speaker, and mother of two. And I've discovered how to gain real career clarity and build an impactful career on my terms without sacrificing security or burning out. If you're ready for aligned career options, confident decisions, and work that protects your peace, close that comparison tab on LinkedIn, grab your notebook, and let's dive in. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to talk about the Portfolio Career Academy. It is my 12-week group coaching experience that is designed for high-achieving corporate women who want to turn their expertise into multiple streams of income. If you have been thinking about building outside of your current role so that you can maximize your impact and diversify your income, then this program could be just what you're looking for. Go to the show notes and check out the link, or you can head over to careerchangemakers.com/PCA and you can find out more details there. I encourage you to book a fitting call with me so that we can discuss whether the program is going to be a good fit for you and whether you're a good fit for the program. So in today's episode, I want to get practical with you and I want to share with you the different ways that I have built income streams over the last 10 years. And I'll share with you the order in which I've built them, not because I'm recommending that you do the same, but because I think it's helpful to understand the thought process and how things can emerge and develop. And then I will share with you my thoughts on what you could do to get started. So the first thing I added was rental income. My husband and I acquired our first property in 2010, and since then we have added rental properties to our portfolio, and he manages most of that. And that was the first stream. And then after I started my coaching journey and I did my certification, I started taking clients on the side. So I would work my day job 9 to 5, and then I would take clients in the evenings or on the weekends. And so that was my first additional stream of income that was related to my skill set and my expertise. And the one-to-one work that I did with people on the side over time, that turned into a group program, and I ran a group program for 4 years, supporting people around their career transitions. And as I started sharing about the topic and showing up on social media and sharing my perspective around career transitions, career development, career advancement, opportunities started coming for speaking. So at first, these were unpaid opportunities where people wanted me to come and share my perspective in their communities or on stages. And then as I gained more experience and more exposure, I started to charge for my speaking engagements. I did a TEDx talk, and that was really good for profile raising. And then I started speaking at conferences, and that went from conferences around the UK to then getting invited to speak overseas at organizations, events, or conferences. So that was the speaking that got added in after I started showing up and sharing my expertise. And then over time, I started doing some facilitation work within organizations. And then that facilitation work turned into doing more regular programs for companies. Also, it got involved in some partnerships that led to some longer term projects around people development and leadership development. So that's leadership and people development consulting work that has happened with organizations. And then another stream that has developed since I started sharing and being more active, associate coaching work, is where I work as a coach in partnership with another organization. And sometimes that looks like me speaking within their community or within their programs. And that is a stream of income that is great because I don't have to do the marketing around the thing that I'm providing, and I can just show up and I can share. The other stream of income is podcasting. To be fully transparent, I do not have sponsorship for my podcast. I haven't actively pursued that because I am using a different strategy with my podcast. I love this platform. I love it as a way to connect with my audience, to share value, to know that I'm helping people that I may never get a chance to work with. And I promote my own programs on this podcast. So whilst I don't have a sponsor per se, the podcast, it does generate revenue because it helps me to bring in clients. And the other stream of income I would add is legal consulting work. I started off my career as a corporate lawyer, and after having my first child, I made the transition in-house and worked in different organizations in an in-house capacity, and then decided that I wanted more flexibility as I was growing my coaching and consulting company. So moved into legal consulting, and that was years ago that I first started doing that. And now it's even more common for people to take their years of expertise and move into fractional roles where you're offering your services, but not on a permanent basis, but instead on a shorter term basis. So it helps the company who's looking for a flexible hire and maybe doesn't have the budget or the revenue to hire someone full time, but they do want that level of expertise. And so I've been able to go in and do that in a legal consulting capacity, and it works the same way in many other industries for people with professional services backgrounds. So hopefully you can see that these different income streams have emerged in different ways. When I first started, there wasn't much intentionality around building out a portfolio career. I just took the next step. I just said, okay, I want to start coaching, so let me just do what I need to do to get going. And then as I've moved, different opportunities have come about. It hasn't been easy to do it this way. It has been a little bit haphazard at times. I've made mistakes. I've overextended myself at times. I've had to learn project management, time management skills, but it has all come over time. And now it allows me to pull whichever lever I need to pull in terms of leaning into these different income streams. I'm not necessarily actively working all of them at once, but I do have the options to decide what am I going to double down on in this year, in this quarter, sometimes in this month. So it gives me the flexibility that is super helpful, particularly as you're raising young children. And when I got injured last year, I was in the midst of focusing on my corporate engagement and speaking work. And that doesn't work when you can't stand up. That doesn't work when you can't walk and you can't travel. So I was able to recalibrate and dial up the coaching work and the legal consulting work so that I was covered from a revenue perspective. And that's the big reason why I am so excited at this time to share more with women in particular about building a portfolio career, because it can become your safety blanket when the rug is pulled from under you by an organization or industry shifts. You're able to go back to your streams and decide how you're going to leverage them to navigate this next season. So my goal really is to help you to build out your own safety net in this uncertain market, in this uncertain time. Having different levers that you can pull are game changing and so calming when you're experiencing different challenges. So let's talk about what I would do if I was starting in 2026 and what I would encourage you to do as you're getting started. So in 2026, the options are overwhelming. There are lots of things that you could do, and the barrier to entry for getting started in a lot of those areas is low. It's way lower than it used to be. We have so many tools. We have so many platforms. We have so many different opportunities that make it easier for you to get started with building on the side. But the question is, what am I going to do? Where do I start? How do I get started, right? I would say there's three main buckets that a professional woman with 15, 20 years experience can lean into at this time to start building out your additional income. And I wish I would have been a bit more cognizant of the options and made intentional choices about what I did in what order, because I think it would have made things a lot easier. So I want to share with you the three buckets to be thinking about. One is leveraging your expertise through fractional or consulting work. So you might be able to offer a day a week, or one day every month, or whatever the cadence is, to an organization outside of your own. It depending on how you work right now, whether you work full-time or part-time, you may be able to create some capacity for you to be able to take on some projects on the side. And if it is that you don't need to deliver on a particular day, it may be something that you can work on around your day job in the evenings or on the weekends, depending on what that delivery looks like. And secondly, is to take on portfolio roles like being a non-executive director, being on an advisory board, even being a trustee. And typically being a trustee isn't a paid role, but it can be a great role to take to get experience at the board level. And then thirdly, build your own platform. And this can be through speaking, this can be through content, this can be through you creating digital products, allowing yourself to lean into your creativity and share what it is that you do or what it is that you're passionate about on different platforms and monetize it. So I would say pick one that matches your goals and your timeline and your capacity, one of those buckets. I want to emphasize the simplest possible version of an offer that you would be able to bring out there. We're talking minimum viable product. We're not talking bells and whistles, all the things. And I know for the perfectionist in the room, that feels hard. Like you want to build it out and you want to have a website and you want to have all the things before you start talking about what it is that you do. You don't need that. You're not trying to build a new business and a massive organization. So build an income stream alongside your corporate job. We're not trying to do all the things that someone who is focusing on building out a whole entire business is focused on. So you want to start with small, get your first client, your first opportunity, and then you can add and build momentum from there. I would say the biggest thing that I would do differently if I was starting to build now is I would have been more intentional about building my personal brand and my network earlier. So not just focused on reaching out to people and building relationships when I was ready to launch what it is that I'm doing, but instead I would have started long before, and I would have been more diligent with building up my presence on one platform in particular, instead of jumping around and doing lots of things in lots of places. Because the best opportunities are going to come because you are visible. There have been a number of times where somebody has reached out to me and asked me to come and speak on a stage or speak at a conference because they saw my content on LinkedIn or they saw me showing up over there, or because somebody who has seen my content or my activity has referred me. So you being able to look for opportunities to get known, and you don't have to get known by everyone, is getting known by the right people. So one of the things that I help people with inside of my program is really seeing what is the best path of visibility for you. The generic advice out there would be to show up on LinkedIn and share and post all the time. And I know for a lot of people, there is an aversion to doing that, right? I don't want to be that person who's just sharing random stuff on LinkedIn. I don't want to be bothering people in their feeds. So the idea that you have to go out on LinkedIn or even any of the other social media platforms and start sharing, it just feels very daunting and also might feel like something you don't want to do. My goal is to help people to see that there are different paths to visibility and different ways that you can show up, depending on your goals, depending on your personality type, depending on what you're interested in doing. You can build in a way that feels good to you rather than a way that feels cringy. Building on visibility as a long-term game and optimizing the platform that you're going to be showing up on, and really being clear about who you're trying to target and who you're trying to get in front of, means that you're able to build in a strategic way that doesn't necessarily take up all of your time and your energy. So that is what I would say needs to be prioritized when you're getting going. So if I was starting in 2026, I would be auditing what I already have, looking at my expertise, my track record, my results. I would pick one path of proof of concept and just focus on that for a significant amount of time so I could gain some traction. And then I would be starting to build visibility now. So I'd be thinking about perhaps LinkedIn or another platform, perhaps it's Substack, perhaps it's Instagram, whatever it is. And then I'd be thinking about what do I want people to be knowing about me and my expertise and what it is that I want to share so that that is happening before I need to leverage it. And ultimately, doing this and taking these steps allows you to build slowly but surely. The people who are going to be successful with building out portfolio careers in the next 12 months aren't the ones who are necessarily. We're in 2026 and the world of work has definitely shifted, and there is a growing trend of people wanting to work on a more flexible basis, but also organizations wanting to hire on a more flexible basis. So that means that there's going to be more and more people that are leaning into working in the unconventional, non-traditional way. So we want to get going. We want to get going and we want to get started, right? So if this resonates with you and you're able to now see more of a picture of how it could possibly work for you, but you still are wondering, okay, but really, Janine, how do I put those steps in place and how do I get going? Come and join us inside of the Portfolio Career Academy. We are starting at the end of this month and I am excited. I'm excited to dig in even further, share with you the playbook, share with you the behind the scenes, share with you the tools that I use in order for me to manage a portfolio career so that you can get going too and you can build that level of security that is going to be so needed over the next few years because we are in this season of shift with AI transformation and jobs transforming and things shifting. We want to do what we can to be in the driving seat of our careers and take ownership rather than being passive and waiting to see what happens. So that's all I have for you today. Until next time, remember that nobody cares about your career as much as you do, so act like it. Hey, ambitious woman, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to follow the show and share it with someone who may be quietly rethinking their next chapter? Also, please leave a review. It really helps this message reach more ambitious women ready for career clarity. And it lights me up to know that this podcast is helpful to you. Until next time, go and take one strategic step forward and I'll meet you back here in a few days for another episode. Let's keep building.